In this lifetime, I've heard a lot of people talking about free will, saying we have it, we don't have it, it's the most important thing ever, it doesn't matter. How can you have it if other people are doing things too? Just lots and lots of stuff, yeah? And just about every time I've heard anyone talk about free will, they were angry. Railing against something, protesting something else. So, I'd like to talk to you for just a moment about free will. See, it's both perhaps the most important concept in your entire life, and a load of absolute bullocks, pointless and irrelevant. And how can it be both? You're here in this life for one purpose, that's to figure out who you are and to express that. And in that process, there's nothing more important than your decisions. To figure out who you are and to follow that path wherever it leads, and to make the decisions to act in such a way that you explore it and express it and encounter it and understand it, and it becomes more and more until eventually you hit a point where you wake up and realize who you are. Most people never get there. The biggest crime then is slavery, because your biggest purpose in being here is to make your own decisions, to figure out who you are. And anything that gets in the way of that is an inexcusable horror. And this is why free will is not just important, it's the most important, the most powerful thing you can develop. And if that's true, if it is the most important, why would it be bullshit, bullocks? Why would it be nonsense? And I tell you that you can only have free will when you're free. And there probably isn't one of you, not one, who's free. So you don't make your decisions with your mind, you think you do, but anybody who's studied humans knows it's not true. You make your decisions emotionally, and then you justify them with your mind. But your emotions aren't yours. Throughout your life you have felt many things. And the ones that you've enjoyed, you've really felt them all, and once they're felt, they fade away like feelings do. But the ones that were unpleasant, many of those you said, I don't want to feel that, that's ugly. And so you shoved it aside. And pretty soon you're dragging this great big bag of old feelings that you've never felt. No matter what you look like on the outside, on the inside, you're like this immensely obese person, dragging the weight of all these old feelings around. You can barely walk up and down stairs. You can barely have a relationship. You can't find joy or purpose in your life anymore. Everything seems pointless and empty. And as long as all those feelings are there, that mess of feelings will be what makes your decision. And you are not free. You're a slave of all that stuck garbage inside. And it's possible to get free of that, but it's not what I'm talking about here. With all of those stupid decisions you've made because of agreements you've made with abusive people, your parents, your teachers, your relatives, your church, because of the decisions you've made, you've developed habits, and the habits are the easiest thing to do. Maybe it's just to surrender and always walk away. Maybe it's to always fight. Maybe it's to whine about how hard it is, or bully and intimidate people, or bully and intimidate yourself as you look in the mirror each morning. Maybe it's to cry and hope it gets better. I don't know. But you've got habits. And when you should be making a decision and acting, instead you're acting by habits. And as long as those habits are there, you are not free. That's two, emotions and habits. Third is what you know, what you believe. Because as soon as you know something is true, you have to throw out anything you notice that disagrees with it. You have to debunk it. Call it a hoax, a conspiracy, a myth, an act of the devil or the communists or the NWO or whichever boogeyman you pray to. Because when you know, when you believe anything, you're no longer open to what life has to show you. And when you're a child, that's not a big deal, but the more you grow and the more you know, you stack these beliefs, these knowings around you. And when somebody says, what about that? You say, I can't see that. My wall of beliefs is in the way. And you end up locked in a tiny cell that you have built. And your knowing and your belief have trapped you in this cell. You have become a prisoner. And then you watch a movie that says, what if I told you everything you know of the world is a lie? And maybe it doesn't say that now, because the movie's changed. As much change is going on in the world. All of your mythopoetic expressions of sociocultural expressions of subconscious normalizations are in flux, which is probably too much to understand, so I'll keep it simple. Something in you keeps saying, I'm in a cage. I can't feel, I can't live, I can't love, I can't breathe. And I'm telling you, you built that cage. As long as you believe in things, as long as you know things, those build walls around you and you can no longer experience the world. Stop believing. There's no purpose to belief. You don't believe in gravity, but you don't float away. Right? You don't believe in celery, but it's still there when you want to put peanut butter on it and pretend you're eating healthy. You don't believe in the things you experience, you just experience them. And if one day you find out there are red bananas and blue watermelons, you don't fight it, you just say, well, this is what I experience. You don't need belief. The only people who tell you you have to believe are people who are helping you build the cage you will be stuck in for the rest of your life. Right? So as long as you have beliefs or things you know, as long as you have habits, as long as you have stuck emotions inside, then you are not perceiving the world clearly. You are not representing what you perceive inside in any clear way. You're not understanding what's going on. And so any decision you make isn't free. It's just noise. And because thinking your way through all the steps is too much work, it's easier to go with your habits or your beliefs or what you know, and you're tired from living in a cage your whole life. Generally, you won't put that work in anyway. Wouldn't matter if you did, because you'd still be picking from choices inside your cell. And wouldn't be free. That's if you're willing to put the work in, but most people aren't. They're too exhausted, too worn out, fighting the baggage they've created for themselves. And so they are not free. And then it doesn't matter if they choose the red pill or the blue pill, the meds or the socks. It doesn't matter if they think the earth is flat or round or a octahedral something. It doesn't matter. As long as they are not free, they don't have free will. So I tell you, there are maybe 7 people in this world right now who have free will. And up to 7 billion others who don't, but who are fighting and killing one another over the idea of it. You are not free. You do not have free will. If free will matters to you, do the work to clear out all the old garbage, to get rid of your old habits, to stop believing and knowing, and start being aware of what's around you. And in 10 or 20 years, when you've cleared that stuff out and know who you are and are free, then you will have free will. And if you if you are not willing to do that work, then quit talking about free will and quit fighting about it. You're just a monkey in a cage. choosing between the yellow bananas and the red ones.